The video you are about to see is part of our Independent Artist Masterclass on EagleTunes. EagleTunes is our platform where we connect independent artists and their loyal fans, and we also show artists how to become successful as independent artists. From this masterclass, which is part of the EagleTunes Academy, we will upload every single video on YouTube step by step. But if you can't wait to see those videos or the full masterclass, and if you don't want to see those annoying introductions on every single video, feel free to click the link in the video description, become part of our community, and use all the artist features that we offer beside the Academy, like your own artist store, landing page, AI features, and whatnot. Check it out. Can't wait to see you inside. Click the link in the video description. Bye-bye. So now let's talk about the single items that you actually need. So let's start with the phone, because it's nowadays one of the most important thing, and it's the best thing that you can use this phone because it is capable of recording audio and video and even editing. So you could do the video editing also on your phone, but I don't recommend to do this. That's why I have my laptop here, but it would be possible. My recommendation still is using a computer, at least for video editing, because it is very tough to handle. Differences on a tablet would be possible, but I'm going with the computer for video editing. And audio recording, audio editing, possible on your phone and computer as well. And also video recording, also done on your phone. That's the best news. You don't need any DSLR professional cam, $2,000, 2,000 knobs and buttons on it. So, and the quality, at least from the iPhone 13, which is roundabout from now 2 generations back to the past. So we're talking about 2023 is the year we are in right now. So all the phones from 2020, I think if you have more than one cam on the back of the phone, chances are the phone is good enough to create very good looking pictures. And if you follow some basic rules, as I said, with the lighting, for example, this is actually what creates the professional images and videos. It's not too much what is in the cam. The phone itself, as I said, if it's from the generation from 2020 and younger, then you could use it and chances are it's just fine. There's one specific thing introduced with the iPhone 13. We had the cinematic mode, which creates this simulation of blurred background. So you have this instant feeling of a professional photo or video. And if you have the cinematic mode, please use it. And also, if you have something like frames per second, use 25 frames per second in Europe, or 23.9 or 1 or something like this. You can see the option there for all in the US and the rest of the world, I think. If you have those frames per second settings, use it, just as I said, and you have perfectly fine images and videos. That's the phone. The next one would be what you plug in here is an iRig interface, and those are very great because you can use it with your phone, but also with your computer. You can put it in your pocket, take it wherever you want to, and it allows you to create with your phone multi-track recording. So which is what you basically do in a studio, in your home recording studio or in a proper studio. And you can plug in proper microphones, condenser microphones, which have an XLR cable, and you use it with your phone. I recommend using BandLab. I show you in a minute the software as well, but we have at least 2 softwares that are capable of recording multi-track recordings with multiple phones. From the iRig, you have several versions. We have the one that you can see in the picture here, which is the iRig Duo, is it called? And we have a single one, and we have one with 4 inputs. So that which one you take depends on the way you want to record and the kind of musician you are. So in my case, I used to do a lot of things on my own, singer-songwriter style. Had a guitar or play the piano and sing, so I need 2 inputs if I want to create a video where I create the feeling of a very authentic thing, because what you see is what you get, what you see is what you hear. You could do some overdubbings after the recording as well, but basically I wanted to record what you see, really. So I record the guitar and my phone at a time, so I need 2 inputs. If you are a band or if you are a duo and you need like 4 microphones because you have a partner also recording voice and guitar, you need 4 inputs. If you want to record live in the video, for sure, you could pretend to record it and afterwards record every single track. Then, if you go with that, also the solo one, so with just 1 input, also would be enough. So it depends on, as I said, how many musicians you are or your band is. My recommendation is the one with 2 inputs. You can do almost everything with it, and it's also very affordable. Let me also give you some price tags here, and we can calculate how much all would be if you have new conditions. So we have, this is about 180 at a time. we talked about, let's assume you already have a phone, okay, so I don't take this with the calculation. And let's assume you have a computer as well. I talk about this right now. The computer, what kind of computer you need. So as I said, you will need it at least for video recording, which is my recommendation, because maybe multiple tracks of video and audio. And if you try to do it on your phone, which is possible with Premiere Rush, but it's not that handy to do. It's bit difficult, and also the synchronization isn't that good, so I would go with a computer. And you need, in the best case would be you have a graphic card that isn't on board. So it's unfortunately with most of the laptops or notebooks it is like that, but then to be honest you should try, just take 2 recordings, 2 videos of it, doesn't matter, just record something and then import them into DaVinci Resolve. I explain this to you in a minute in the next video. And if your computer is able to handle this, do some cuts and play the video, I mean, and if it's not like stuttering, chances are you can work with it. And also the good news is, since we are working with the phone, the video quality isn't too high. So hopefully your computer is able to handle it, but the requirements and the specifications you need are listed below this video as well. So if you want to be sure of it, or maybe you think of buying a new one just for creating content, I would go with a notebook or a proper computer that has an external graphic card. Not external, but not on board. This is what I mean. Now let's talk about microphones. Also very important. And the one you see here, it's the cheapest option I would recommend, around about $100. It's also from the same company that the iRig interface is. We have this little iRig Studio here, very small, lightweight, and it's a condenser microphone, which is very important because condenser microphones create a studio-like quality where you have a very sensitive microphone. This one, $100 is my recommendation if you want to have it as cheap as possible. You could go with the Rode NT1, would be a bit better, a bit bigger, a bit more sensitive. And from there on, a question that we always get is like, what is the best option for a little bit of money, but not too much, and what makes sense? You know, because the room you are recording, chances are the room you are in isn't treated perfectly sound-wise. So in this case, we are in our rehearsal room here, and we have several other rehearsal rooms next to us. And if the microphone I use here is too sensitive, it's a very expensive one, probably a very good one, but it's so sensitive that it takes all the background noise, I would have to eliminate it afterwards, and then the quality still drops. So there is no sense in going too expensive. And still, as I said, my recommendation is, when you can afford it for the proper productions, I would recommend to go to the studio, to a proper recording studio, and they use the high-end shit, you know. We use phones that create a studio-like feeling, and the cheapest option, as I said, would be the Studio from iRig or Rode NT1. And the highest option I use is not like a high-end one, but it's like middle-range stuff. I use a Shure SM, which is not a real condenser microphone, but creates the same feeling or same mood, so to say. You have to get very close to it, but the benefit is if you're recording multi-tracks at one time, you don't want to have too much vocals on your you want to have vocals on your vocal mic, but not on your guitar mic, for example. So if I use 2 of those, I have on my guitar mic a lot of vocals, and on my vocals a lot of the guitar, and that's not perfect. That's why the Shure SM is a very good one, because you have to get very close, but when you get close, you create a condenser feeling, and it doesn't take too much of the room sound and from the guitar, for example, or other things happening around you. So if you can afford it, my recommendation is what we use there is the Shure SM, and the highest option I would go with is a Neumann microphone that we also use for the better production. And with that setup, you get very close to a studio production, but also the cheap ones are just fine. So depends on your budget. And for sure, if you have questions, detailed questions, we can talk about it in the Artist Hub classroom, or you can look up comparisons on YouTube. A lot of them, they play and record with different microphones, and you can see how big the difference actually is. Microphone, $100, iRig. Next one would be the MIDI board. It isn't a proper keyboard, it's just a MIDI controller. Most of you know this. What do we use it for is the question here. If you need it, depends on the way you record and on what kind of instruments you want to record. So with this one, you can use VSTs, and you have those virtual instruments on Cubase or on BandLab, which is the software that we recommend. And you can play every instrument with the MIDI board. For example, things I use sometimes are drums. You can record drums with it, and if you play drums yourself, it helps to have a feeling here instead of just do it in the sampler on the screen. But you also could do some piano stuff, and it's great to have it, some background sounds, some synth sounds and stuff like that. And it's very affordable. This one was about $79. and it's also very small, and it fits the input of the iRig because there's a specific, it's not a proper MIDI input what you can use there. Very small input here, and the launch key, which is the one that we use here, the launch key has this very small cable and fits perfectly, but there's also an adapter coming with the iRig interface, so you could also use any other MIDI board if you want to have a larger one because you want to play the piano or stuff like this. All I want you to know is the iRig interface is capable of recording MIDI as well. So we have this one, we have the slider. Let's go a bit more into detail about the video stuff. This is a slider which helps you to create movement in your videos, and it seems as if someone is recording you from out of hand, you know. It's way more interesting. The pictures you, the images you create, the videos that you make are way more interesting than having static views from different angles. So I would recommend purchasing this. This is about 150 bucks, and this is a bigger package. You have also different other tools that can circle around you and stuff like this. But it's around about 150, and you can put your cam or your smartphone on it, and the fixation here is included. It's an electric motor, just charged via USB. Very nice to have, and you can use it from every angle and forward and back and up and down and stuff like that. We explain this in the content creation part of the masterclass. So then we have the light. I will talk to you about the lights in just a few seconds and show you what is important to know about lighting. Just for now, the price, so we can make the conclusion here. Let's say you have 2 or 3 lights also, it's around about 100 to 200 bucks. And now, assuming that you don't have, or you have already a notebook, but I don't have to put a price tag on it because you already have it and you have your phone. So we are talking about around about, let's say 250 here, 350, 400, 500, something if you purchase the lighting as well, something between, if you buy it new, 500 to 600 bucks, and you have a fully equipped studio and you are good to go. Really plug and play, just put it on a table and start recording, which is really amazing. I can tell you, my first audio interface, which was an external one, I still had to learn how to make it, put it into my computer, and still it doesn't work really. I had to install drivers and all of the stuff, and this costs 700 bucks. There was no video and it still doesn't really work. I had to put hours of work into it to understand how it works. So as I said, it's affordable, it's easy to use, and it's all you need to become independent. Now let's talk about the lighting as well before we talk about the software.